How do we have more men saying that we need to have a diverse industry and taking action?
Welcome to the Shipping Podcast, where I meet interesting maritime professionals sharing their passion for the shipping industry and their everyday job. I am your host. My name is Lena Gothberg. Hello and welcome to episode 219 of the Shipping Podcast. This is part 2 of the panel discussion organized by Vera Tax, member of the European Parliament, on June 27th, 2023. The topic was Empowering Women in Transport, the Maritime Industry and the Role of the European Union. I introduced all the speakers in episode 218, which is part 1 of the discussion. In this part, you will hear yet another voice, a female working for Rolls-Royce in the Netherlands. We had some audience in the room, or they were more participating in the conversation than being an audience. Unfortunately, I didn't get the young woman's name, so for that I apologize. This episode starts just after we all watched a video from Costa on diversity and inclusion. So that is what some speakers are referring to. But as this is audio only, the video part is cut out. I'm convinced you will get it anyway. But if you haven't listened to the previous episode, I think you should do that before you put this one on and listen to it. So, please enjoy the follow-up conversation from Brussels.
Every conversation
matters.
And Lena, I'm going to ask a question to you first. What do you see that the shipping community can do practically to make life better on board and onshore?
Well, we have messages from our own members that there are no fitting rooms for women on deck. So they have to change in the storage locker room together with the buckets and brooms, so to say. That doesn't make the women feel very welcome. Also, the lack of adjusted clothes, working clothes. If they are in fire team on board, the clothes are absolutely too big. Safety shoes, which makes it very difficult for them to do their job in the safe manning on board. And that's very easy. He's talking about the toolbox, and that's very easy part to fix. It costs probably a little bit money, but it's very sad to see that they're still building ships today without those facilities. Women toilets or fitting rooms, or like she said, I didn't think about that before, their own laundry room. That's absolutely natural to have that, especially on large ships like that. So they have to have this awareness about special needs for women on board to make them feel welcome and make them be able to do their job on board.
Yeah, and I was thinking it's interesting that we have this discussion on decarbonization going on, and the maritime sector is taking steps. So we're now thinking about making sure that there's place on board of vessels for hydrogen and ammonia, etc., which is building in space for other things. And then these relatively small actions are still a challenge. Vanessa, you're the person in the room with the most accurate experience on board of a ship. Do you want to share something?
Yeah, maybe because I really like it, but the life on board, at least on passenger ship, of course, if we compare to cargo ship, I suppose that is completely different. But on passenger ship, everything more or less is in place. So we do have access to more or less everything. I think what is working for us on board is to build a team. So to collect all the female on board, because I was on the last ship, which is a Costa ship with 6,700 passengers, plus 1,600 crew members. So I think having a role model, so in this case, a women officer covering the position of deputy captain or staff captain, is important to build up your team. on this bigger ship, you do not have. Sometimes you meet the people. You don't meet people so often because of the different workplace or because of the different job on board. So it's important to how we wanna create and how we wanna change our mentality on board is to create a group, so a female in this case, and share with everybody our experience. So in this way, as she said, then maybe the day before you met a lot of women and you do not even say goodbye or good morning, but whenever they meet and they know each other, then they will start to share and they are starting to create a team. This is how it's working more or less on board. I'm used to work in a man place, of course, and what is the secret, and I can feel it on my experience, because covering the position of first officer means as well be a bridge manager. So the bridge manager is, let's say, not telling what to do to the officer, but at least guide them. And I saw the difference whenever a female, so I was the bridge officer, instead a man is a bridge officer. So they create always a team. So they will work always together. And if you are alone, you are out of the team. So what we can do, we can create our team, our female team. So our women, we can fight together. And this one is the only tips that could improve in our environment, let's say.
Thank you. Sotiris, if you think about two things that come up in this part of the discussion, how do we build the ships and how do we have room for having a diverse team? That's one thing. And if I look at Europe's shipping community, it's the big passenger vessels, but it's also the dredging vessels, the offshore, it's the smaller ones. Is there anything in the shipping community to link the experience from one ship owner to another? Because you don't always have them on board of one ship.
I think changing all these little things will be a huge step forward, especially for the bulk carriers. And if we're serious about attracting more women on board, I mean, from simple little things like the laundry or the toilets or the size of clothing on board or even the shoes. This is really important stuff that we need to pay attention to and to raise awareness about best practices. I think this is some common ground we have found in this discussion.
And if I may, how do we do that today and tomorrow? And I'm not asking you to speak on behalf of everybody who's a member and a member of your members, but if we have agreement, and this is a big little thing to speak in the words of Helena, and I don't think you need regulation for this. You need a packing list. And others can react as well. How do we go from talking about it to, okay, done, next?
Why not a competition? Who is the best ship owner when it comes to gender equality? Do you have a prize for that? Or I don't know.
I guess it's a good idea. I mean, we're here today to brainstorm.
I think we also discussed too little about the S and the ESG. So maybe we also should talk to the bankers. The bank, follow the money. Where is the money coming from? They're lending money to ship owners. And the S and the ESG, that's important. Sorry to be a little bit.
But I guess also talking about it is really important. We shouldn't underestimate the power of language. But I don't think that we talk and talk and talk, but I'm not sure that we all speak the same language and that we all share the same conclusions. An interesting example, Danish shipping, they inaugurated a new toilet for ladies. And we saw it on LinkedIn, and we had this discussion in the team. Was this really necessary? And we concluded it was. I mean, because you have to listen to the people. The building of Danish shipping was built beginning of last century, where there were no women in office, and there were not enough toilets in 2013 for women. And in Denmark, in Danish shipping. I think we need to listen more. Talking, but also listening to the people and drawing the right conclusions. It's something we can do now. And again, we don't need regulation for that. We just need to to take action and to change our workplaces, our communities, to educate better ourselves and our people.
What do you? I mean, it's not rocket science we're talking about here, but clearly the need of women in decision-making positions. Because if it wasn't for a woman, those things wouldn't have happened for sure. So definitely that is our pillar in terms of, and also the opportunities that come up with digitalization and ship design. We're seeing now younger women taking those paths, whereby I'm sure the ship would be designed differently, or let's say more, you know. So I think these are the two aspects. That what are the opportunities, and that is the, so to say, medium and long term, and the short term is having women in decision making positions, because there will obviously all will trickle down. Then it would be normal to have another laundry room, normal to have, I mean, when I started the first vessel I had joined was common showers, you know, not even privacy for a man, yet alone having a woman, you know. So things are moving, but not the pace that we want them. But I think these are the two aspects that one can take from this video.
We have those changes, and we have the discussion. And I have to agree with you, David, that you need to have diversity in leadership, because you can only see the things that you see. I bring my own perspective to the table as well. So I don't want to have myself copied a number of times. Do we have figures, and also looking in the room, about the coming up people, so the ones taking the next step in their career towards leadership? Do we have those figures in shipping?
Do we have figures in shipping?
And
okay.
it's I love data, because data gives you insight in what's happening, what's not. Go ahead.
Well, the figure I have is that at least in Norway, the officers on board are recruited from ratings. And I think in European shipping, we are forgetting about the importance of European ratings, because it's all linked together. And if 80% of the officers comes from the rating positions, that means that the ratings are the basis of the whole industry, actually. And if I can continue a little bit about the officers, when you become an officer, you are as well, now we're into a different topic about career path, but if you're an officer, you're very attractive on the shore-based maritime industries as well, in the shipyards, in the shipping company, classification societies, and so on. So the career path for a seafarer is fabulous, really, and we just have to advertise. We have to get this message out to everybody, because, like you said, this is an invisible industry for most people. If you talk about shipping, they don't know what it's all about. They don't know anything. They see maybe a ferry going from the port, that's it. But we have to get this good message out. It's a very, very good job working on board a vessel, if you get the right terms and conditions, and workspace free of bullying, harassment, of course, good wage, salary, permanent employment, and all that. So we just have to get the message out. It's a very good job.
Definitely agree. And I'm going to be stubborn here. I'm going back to the question on the data. Do we have insights on how many women are entering shipping? And do we know how many could then go for the next step in their career? Because then we're changing the leadership. At first, thanks. And I think we touched upon something that definitely stirs the debate. So that's a good one. One comment, and then I'm looking at you, I'm going to you, Lena, and the rest of the panel. We have such an incredibly diverse industry. If you look at whether it's a tanker, offshore, the bulk, the passenger vessels, and they all have their own terms in terms of 6 weeks on, 6 weeks off, 6 months. So can we put some creativity in there and thinking about indeed that maritime career that you dropped as a thought? But go ahead first.
Try to use that one. Lisa Wagner from Rolls-Royce. So on the number question, we are not on sea. We are from the manufacturing industry, but we are hit with a similar problem. So we build the engines. And also in engine manufacturing, you do not have a lot of women. And I can't give numbers for the whole sector, obviously, but we do have numbers for our company, and we do have targets. And I think that this is something that is very important. Of course, you need to look at the whole sector and what comes next, but every company first needs to make their own commitment. And they need to know their numbers, and they need to know their targets. And actually, our management targets are much higher than the shop floor targets, because we know it's more difficult to get women on the shop floor. But we know that in order to get there, we need diversity programs, we need mandatory learning. We do have mandatory learning on inclusion, for example, for every management level, otherwise you do not get your bonus. There are gender diverse toilets, for example, that we implemented. But in order to implement these things, you need to have people in the management levels that have the power to take these decisions. So I would also advocate for companies like Costa to not only have numbers about people that are on sea, but numbers also off sea, in order to be able to set up the programs, HR, etc., in order to just create the right framework and actually have the push that then will also trickle down to the people on sea, obviously. But I think it's a more general problem. It's not only on sea, it's everywhere in the company, and everyone needs to be sort of aware of this to head into the same direction, because otherwise it cannot work, because otherwise you'll have the people on sea against high management and they will not understand each other, and then, it's an ongoing problem.
Thank you. Yeah, you first. Thank you. Well, you talk now. What we can talk about is the maritime cluster, which is all linked together, and a lot of the competence and the onboard experience is being used in the onshore, like you in the manufacturing business. This onshore experience is very useful, attractive, of course. When it comes to the life-work balance, like you were talking about, the normal rotation on board the vessel, if you say in the North Sea, on the offshore vessel, is 1 month on, 1 month off. And so it goes. It could be a solution because two people are sharing one position, because they are, relieving each other. It could be a solution, perhaps, that 3 people are sharing one position. That means that you work 1/3 of the year instead of half of the year. That could be, of course, that's a reduction of the salary as well, but for a period of life, why not? We can discuss it, we can talk about it with the counterparts, and we have to look at the solutions. So that's the normal, but like in the ferries, the ferries going from Norway, and this is 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. But if you live maybe in different countries further away, it's maybe 2 months on, 2 months off, and so on. That's very difficult to combine with family, I know. And that's the same for men. Young men today, young fathers, they have the same requirements as women. It's a new generation.
And a promising one. Before I go to you, I'm looking at the panel to react. Who wants to take a step first? David and then Lena?
Yes, the issue of work-life balance, I think it's one of the major bottlenecks. I don't have an answer for that, because once you start splitting hairs when it comes to work-life balance for the specific sector, it's not easy how to establish that balance, because there are different types of vessels, different types of routes. One point is that we must also not forget within this debate the global nature of the industry. You pointed out why we won't have any requirements in terms of, we have to, as now from an EU perspective, because at the end of the day, we always fall back to the International Maritime Organization. So we need to, so to say, do our efforts from the Commission side, from Member State side, from the Parliament side, in terms of moving towards that direction. I'm not saying that there is a solution, because as I said, work-life balance in the sector is always, and the delicate balance that we call that, we remind and always are reminded the global nature of the industry, and then competitiveness, So these are all aspects which do not help in reaching these objectives, unless you can find a silver lining in this cloud.
Yeah, I have so many friends, female women working in the maritime industry, working with HR. And their biggest problem right now is paternity leave, because that is spreading. They have to plan that as well. So you are correct. We need to actually also look at the young people. We need to look at the young people. And I wonder, is it clear to them the career path that we are talking about? Do they see that when they enter the industry? Like you said, I came into the industry, you live in Greece, and that's a little bit more shipping in there, I know, also in Norway. But do they see did you see the career path when you decided to go? Yeah.
That's quite some determination to my right.
Yeah, let's say I thought like, why not? I mean, if they can do it, why not? But this is something I think personally, I mean, not everybody not all it's clear how the career path is. Yes, of course.
Yeah, and shipping is not for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you also see then, and then I'm definitely coming to you, do you see yourself working onshore?
Could be an option.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't see myself working ashore.
No. Okay.
Maybe I see me working on a fishing boat, on my father's fishing boat, but maybe ashore is not. I know that I can be. My place is on a ship, so when I go on board, it's never, because I maybe love the job. I never work. I never call it a job or a work, because I really love it, of course. But this is my case. But could be an option. I've been working for the last 2 years as the position was called Fleet Support Officer. So going around the Carnival Corporation ships, so all the brands working with Carnival Corporation and supporting the other officers, try to attract the female officers. And you see that whenever they are at the first contract, first time on a ship, they are alone. They want to give up. So whenever you arrive on board, I think as first officer, they can see a role model. So you can just build something with them. We create a female forum within Carnival Corporation. And we are trying to change something, because in the moment that you do not see any women in the senior position, like she's a staff captain, I mean, I'm a first officer, senior position, yes, but not in the management yet. Whenever you see more female there, then I think it's the time where we can change something on board, or
I think we
people.
also change things for young men.
Yeah,
As
yes.
soon as we get female.
And what is important, at least I saw it on my personal experience, you need to find people, so in this case, men, who promote you. Because I've been asked, for example, to join a ship where was supposed to start a world cruise. So this captain was a man. I never worked with him, but I was so proud, because within all the Costa, let's say, people, talking about officer, he chose me. And I was so proud to do the world tour without a lot of challenge were there, but there was also the solution, which I brought up, the solution as well. So I was the only female on board, but was nice how he was promoting me, and the young people, so my colleagues and the men, even staff captain or even higher position, were just follow me. So it was the opposite. Instead normally I should follow them because they are a senior management, but was the opposite. So just below the captain I was there, but this is why, the reason why was because the captain was promoting myself. So this is important, to work with the people who really support you. Yeah. Otherwise, could be a nightmare. Let's say. Yeah.
That is what every woman my age say, that they had someone, a sponsor is not to compare with a mentor, but a sponsor who is bringing you places to show you and to introduce you to things. That is what you need as a young woman.
Your question or remark is probably still relevant. No sorries.
It actually relates to what you just said, Vanessa, and it also, I would like to circle back to the data question, because we know from studies on gender equality that there is a threshold of 1/3 of women that are needed in decision-making positions before they can actually really promote other women as well and their perspectives. And so I wondered, going back to the data, maybe you don't have any exact numbers, but maybe some tendency, some idea, are we close to the 30% in the decision-making positions, or are we far away from it?
I'm going to put it as a question, and one hopefully to answer fast. Before I go to the last questions for the panel, and after give Vera the floor to conclude or say a few things, Sotiris.
If we talk about the maritime career path, we need the maritime cluster. What role can your organization play in cooperating with the others here in Brussels to make known that there is something like a career path? Because if you want to stay on board the rest of your life, chapeau. But not everybody wants to. Yeah. But there's so many things you can do, and it's not visible.
Again, raise awareness, and I would use the opportunity to advertise our big event in September in Brussels, the European Shipping Summit. We need to promote these good examples, these role models for the industry, to put them in the spotlight, to show that there are women in leadership, there are women that are doing really well in the industry, that they're enjoying also their work. And this is something that we're going to do quite soon. Talking about leadership positions, judging from our board brings together 20 national associations. So if you measure women in leadership, we're well above the thresholds of the recent directive for diversity in board participation. And it's a good sign. If you turn around, you're going to see a lot of women in leadership positions in our sector. And talking about our organization, we're doing relatively well. But again, we're going back to the raise awareness element, and we need to do it more in Brussels, for sure. I mean, and these kind of events help a lot. What we could probably do also is to start comparing notes, where we stand, where we need to go. And again, if we speak the same language, because language matters. And this is where we can make progress, bring change today and tomorrow. In terms of megatrends, and something that we haven't talked yet a lot, is the green transition. We have the digital transition, that it's a huge opportunity for the sector to break isolation for the crew on board by providing internet connection. And this is something that we have promoted in the projects we run to support companies and develop relevant company policies for internet access on board. But the green transition also will be a huge challenge and a huge opportunity to build a new working culture. I mean, the figures from the DNV study showed that we're going to need probably 300,000 people upskilled, reskilled by 2050 to support the energy transition of the industry. And this is also an opportunity to enhance women participation on board and onshore.
Thank you. We've spoken about quite a few things, but it boils down to making sure that we share our list of little things, the great role models, that we keep on talking, and that whatever can be done today in building or retrofitting the ships to make sure that they are diversity-proof, to do that today. This is not the end of our dialogue, I hope. So my question to you is a 1A and a 1B. The 1A is, what topic would you like to have next on the debate if you were to organize? Because I want to keep this ball rolling because we're not there yet. So what kind of topic would you like to have in the next debate? And could you think of a man who could be there, type of association, organization, or maybe you have a person in mind? And I just need short answers. And you cannot pass, there's no... Do you want to go first, Lina? Yeah.
Well, I think we have to talk more about terms and conditions. We're talking about now is European shipping. Of course, the global shipping is a competition on a global level. But if we talk now about European shipping, we have to talk about the wages that the seafarers coming from European countries have a wage level they can actually live a decent life from the European country they come from. So that's a very, very important topic, because you can't really just look at shipping as all international, because we are competing with Asian very low wages, and we can't do that. Then we can't live in Europe on a Filipino wage level. Everybody understands that. And coming back to the cluster again, it's all linked together. You start with A, B, you can advance to an officer, and after that you might have a job onshore in the maritime industry. It's all in the cluster. And we have to maintain that. We have to build on that. And so it's a difference between the global international shipping and the short sea European shipping. We have to divide those things. We have to build a sustainable European shipping in Europe. That's our basis. And at the same time, of course, compete on the global market, of course. So, yeah, that's one thing. And the other thing, well, how we're going to discuss it with.
Yeah.
Well, we have to discuss it with the ship owners. We have to discuss it with the governments and the regulators.
Thank you. Putting your thoughts there. David.
Just to be brief, one topic that I think would be also interesting to discuss is we've talked about decarbonization, touched about digitalization, but we didn't touch about resilience, geopolitics, resilience, and how gender equality plays in having a more resilient industry, in the sense of our dependency, our daily dependency on the sector itself. In terms of whom to invite, we didn't touch upon that much on the education, how to promote this career path to the younger generation, or else also take it from an international dimension. Let's say someone from the World Maritime University, for example, whereby, we are pushing our agenda off from the European shores to the international dimension, whereby then we come back to the issue of discussions within the International Maritime Organization. So I think we need also to keep in mind the pillar of education when it comes to future debate.
Definitely. Thank you. Helena.
Leadership. I would like to talk about leadership in the maritime industry. And I think we need to hang out where the young people hang out, because they will not ever hang out where we usually, we read the trade news and we know where to find interesting stuff. They don't. So more people in the cyberspace, I think, for the young people and with the young people.
Thank you. Sotiris.
And where can we find the young people? On TikTok, apparently.
Yes.
We spend too much time on LinkedIn, so this is something I will take with me.
Real life would be nice as well.
So we're going to discuss with our comms team if we should be more active on TikTok and promote careers there and disseminate the information. No?
We're open. I think the concept of TikTok.
We're open to ideas.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, going back, the career path is an important topic as well. Leadership. Going back, we can bring attention to is the company, of course, the management of the company. So sharing and sending a clear message is important. So starting from shore side as well, which I know that at least in my company we already do it. They already are doing a lot of a great job, but we can do for sure better.
Thank you. Thanks to all the panel members for thinking forward and being optimistic, and also daring to raise the difficult topics. To you, Vera.
Thank you, Marjolein, for being such a really good moderator and asking the critical questions as well. Thank you to the panelists and for everybody being here. And I noticed I made a lot of comments myself, but I see my other people doing that as well. So in that case, I think we really already learned a lot from each other. If you ask me what are the 3 key points, I would like to mention the one I picked out. So the first one is, do we have data? And it was like devastating that none of us had them or knew where to find them. So I think that would be my first takeaway. What can we do to have this data, and what kind of data do we want to have? Yes, I cannot answer that question right away, but I think that would be my main, because I think there is data, some data, and which one are we missing and which one do we need to make this more gender equal and competitive sector. So the second point, branding, it was not a branding of the industry. So we know that the industry is growing and we need a lot of workforce in the future, and therefore we need a lot of women as well. How can we brand it? And it was like, you mentioned it.
maybe sometimes we brand it as a dirty industry, and these are maybe the pictures that people have. But for me, as I came to notice this industry, for me it's now 3 years, it's like really international, and that is what's so great about it. And for people working in the industry, that is normal. But for a lot of people, that's not normal. So it's a really international business. You meet a lot of people and never a dull moment. You never get bored. And you can come across the world, or if you work on the shore side, you are in touch with the rest of the world. And that's like really, really cool. So I really think, if you work in a workplace where this is the normal, you tend to forget to show that to people. And I think especially for young people, that is really interesting, male and female. And then a little to the young people. For young people, I have also young girls, 19 and 16 years old. And also when I was young, gender equality is not an issue, because you are in school, and in school, it seems there is no issue. But then you get into the job, and then you are in the system where it is an issue. And then you have these individual experiences. And then it is really difficult as a female individual. So the team up, build a team. I think that was also a good takeaway from this session. And 3 is my speak up culture. I think that's a really good one. Let's try to speak up. And if people speak up, how can we make sure that it gives you a benefit and not that you are afraid of losing your job? And the last one is, and the winner is, Helena, a competition. A lot of time as a member of parliament, I've been asked to be a jury member of a competition, or to be part of the selection. They have it in the train sector, and I also know they have it in the maritime sector, but I'm not aware of a competition for the most gender equal ship owner. I would really love to attend. I would really love to participate in that. So I will try to have a chat with ECSA or other people to do this, because I really think then people in a room bigger than this room are interested, are applauding, and then they will ask themselves, why don't we work on that? And they will hear what the benefits are of being more gender equal, because I'm convinced, and not only I know, it is those data are out there, a more diverse workforce is a better economic prospect. It's in every industry. So I think let's go for the competition. And that's what I want to share with you today. And again, I want to thank you all for being here. And I hope we see each other soon on the next debate on this topic. Thank you.
Every conversation
matters.
Thank you, Vera, Marjolein, Line, Vanessa, David, and Sotiris, for participating in this conversation and for inviting me to the panel to discuss. And thank you to Antonio Mattiello. He is the parliamentary assistant of Vera Tax. And thank you for all your work. I hope we meet again soon. Following Monday, July 31st, 2023, I have been producing the Shipping Podcast for 8 years. The first episode was released on July 31st, 2015, and so much has happened since then. I have learned a new craft, podcasting, and all the tech behind that. And I have had conversations with so many exciting people. Having a microphone is almost like sesame open. I have also been able to push the envelope a bit in the maritime industry, both when it comes to diversity and new innovative ideas. I am a tech nerd, I'm loving this, and I love all the feedback that I get. So here is to at least 2 more years. Oops, I think I just promised 52 more episodes. Who do you want to listen to? Drop me a line at hello@shippingpodcast.com and let me know. Also, add something about yourself. I'm curious about you, the loyal audience. Who are you? And what do you think about this little baby of mine? I'm awaiting for your feedback. Until the next time, from me to you, over and out. Thank you for listening to the Shipping Podcast. Don't forget to tell everyone that you meet that there is a shipping podcast available and that they should download it and listen to the maritime professionals who are sharing their passion for the shipping industry.